Hello, 7th graders. Mr. Dayton here, about to read to you a textbook entry for pages 208 and 209. So again, pages 208 and 209, and questions 1 through 7 on page 209. So follow along with me. We are on lesson 9-5. The question they're asking is, what are mollusks? Another phylum of animals that we're going to be talking about. Our objectives today are to describe the features of mollusks and give examples of different classes of mollusks. Key terms: mollusk. Mollusk is a soft-bodied organism. Soft-bodied organism. Next key term is mantle. Mantle is a thin membrane that covers a mollusk's organs. Thin membrane that covers a mollusk's organs is called a mantle. Then we have a radula. Radula is a rough, tongue-like organ of a snail. A rough, tongue-like organ of a snail is called a radula. Again, we are on page 208. 208. The first section is titled Mollusks. Mollusks are soft-bodied animals. They are classified in the phylum Mollusca. The mollusk phylum is divided into 8 classes. The 3 most common of these are described below. Most mollusks are covered by hard shells. Mollusks have a head, a foot, and a mass of tissue that contains a number of well-developed organ systems. These systems include excretory organs, reproductive organs, and a heart. A thin membrane covers the soft, fleshy body of a mollusk. The membrane is the mantle. In some mollusks, the mantle forms the shell. Mollusks live in salt and freshwater and on land. We're going to get into talking more about one of the classes of mollusks. Snails and slugs. The most common type of mollusk has a single shell or no shell at all. Mollusks that are like this belong to the class Gastropoda. Gastropoda. This class includes snails, slugs, and sea slugs. In gastropods, the foot is used for movement. Many of these mollusks, such as snails, have a radula. The radula is a tongue-like organ. It is covered with tooth-like structures. The radula is used to scrape food from plants and rocks. And then here is a snail, basic structure. See the mantle, shell, heart, intestine, its mouth with a radula, and foot and stomach. Okay. Moving on to the next section, it is titled Two-Shelled Mollusks. A second class consists of mollusks made up of 2-part shells. This class is called bivalvia. Clams, oysters, and mussels are all bivalves. The bivalves have strong muscles that are used to hold their shells closed. Bivalves feed by taking in water into their bodies through a special tube. As the water comes in, the microscopic organisms in the water are trapped. The water is then released and the organisms are digested. This method of feeding is called filter feeding. Kind of like sponges. Sponges filter fed as well. And here is a bivalve. Okay. Mollusks with tentacles. A third class of mollusks contains animals that have tentacles. This class is called cephalopoda. Cephalopoda. Squids and octopuses are included in this class. They have very complex brains and excellent eyesight. All cephalopods have tentacles, which are used for movement and feeding. Each tentacle has many suction cups used for capturing prey. So here's an octopus. Octopus has 8 tentacles, or arms. We're continuing to talk about that. Over in this paragraph, it says, mollusks with tentacles can slowly crawl around rocks and through small spaces. However, they can also swim freely. Squids and octopuses swim by jet propulsion. They take in water and squirt the water back out. The force of the water squirted out pushes the animal forward. Using jet propulsion, cephalopods can quickly travel great distances. Okay. Let's go on to our questions, starting with checking concepts. Again, we're on 1 through 7. Please answer in complete sentences in your science notebook. We should be well aware of this routine by now. Number 1 says a blank covers the internal organs of a mollusk. A blank covers the internal organs of a mollusk. Number 2 says a blank is the tongue-like organ found in snails. A blank is the tongue-like organ found in snails. Number 3, snails and slugs belong to the class blank. Snails and slugs belong to the class blank. Number 4, squids and octopuses use blank for feeding and movement. Squids and octopuses use blank for feeding and movement. Number 5, bivalves take in water through a blank. Bivalves take in water through a blank. Moving on to 6 and 7, thinking critically. Again, please answer in complete sentences in your science notebook. Infer, please. Newton's third law of motion states that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. How does this law relate to jet propulsion by squids and octopuses? Again, Newton's third law of motion states that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. How does this law relate to jet propulsion by squids and octopuses? Okay. And number 7, contrast, excuse me. How are the feeding methods of the 3 types of mollusks different? How are the feeding methods of the 3 types of mollusks different? All right, so talk about those differences there. All right, again, that should be answered in your science notebook, questions 1 through 7 on page 209. I just read to you pages 208 and 209. Pause, rewind, do whatever you got to do to get this done. Good luck, everybody.